Hi, my name is Alex. Thank you very much everyone for joining us today. Today is our second webinar session in the entire series. So going forward, we will actually be having a lot more webinar sessions, and we are actually testing out the type of timings that it will be it either on a weekday or even on a weekend. Because very much for ourselves, we think that it's necessary for us to share with the rest of the wider community in Singapore what type of methods they can take to improve their own sales processes. So for ourselves, we are after a sales productive company, and a lot of times for ourselves, we are also looking for new ways to improve our sales. And very much this is also a learning process for us. And so feel free if along the way you have any additional comments that you feel that we can take as well, or some things that we can try. And we'll definitely love to learn more about it. And so now today, let's just jump straight into this. All right. So okay, my name is Alex. I'm actually the Chief of Operations for Platcoms, and I run the customer success side of things for the company. And today, together with me, I actually have another colleague of mine, Leonard, who is actually working on another project that we have here in Platcoms. So I think for some of our clients, for the past 1-2 months, you might have heard that we have came out with a new service that is to be paired together with QuickDesk, and that will actually be an appointment generation service called RevGen. So today I actually got my colleague Leonard to join us so that he can share a bit more on what we feel are some information that would actually help everyone in terms of a sales process, and very much for converting any prospects or even leads into an appointment and ultimately into a closed deal. So, Leonard?
Hi.
All right, so, hi Leonard. So, right now I know that you are working on getting to train up our own sales development reps on how to generate appointments. So maybe let's start a bit more on the current sales processes that we have. So I'm going to hand the time now a bit more to Leonard, and along the way, as questions come up, I will moderate it and actually ask Leonard these questions. All right, Leonard, please.
Okay, so what is the sales process, right? The sales process is, first of all, a typical series of activity, events, or phases required to sell a product. And also, it can be called the sales cycle.
Okay.
Sales process can, the typical sales process from prospecting to closing will look something like what we see on the screen. So I will not elaborate too much, but it will definitely vary from organizations to products and services. And every salesperson or manager will try to ensure that each and every single phase can be shortened as far as possible. Right?
Okay. So yeah, Leonard, just at the start of this, right, just to get your take on this. For the sales process, right, you say that it will vary greatly among organizations and products and services. Just to understand that better, is it due to like the different types of decision making that is done across different type of organizations, or is it simply dependent of people to people?
Well, in some cases, there might not be a particular structure, and in varying organizations, depending on their format, it can vary because sometimes we are very clear of like we have a fixed product. For example, you only have maybe a hairspray, and your offering is a hairspray, and that's all it is. Right? In some cases, especially services, you get customized services. For example, in our case, RevGen, when we actually fit other people's or other businesses' requirements as far as possible, we will not be able to have a standard closing.
Okay.
So the sales process would definitely be slightly different from this.
Okay. So can I say that based on what you're telling me, that a sales process, right, will alter very much based on it's a constantly improving process, and there isn't one fixed way. Can I say that?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, great. So yeah.
So we all know that what we saw just now was the typical sales process, right? It will generally fit into the second part of this funnel, which you see right here. The start of the funnel would be gathering leads, where we get as far as possible. We find generally the organizations that fit us and everything, and then we come to the point of prospecting. And a whole part of the cycle just revolves around this portion where we qualify and convert these people into appointments or even sales. And we know that in the funnel, as you see at the end of the funnel, right, everything, the number of leads will generally be thinned down until perhaps you only get 1%. So in order to improve this number, right, out of 1,000 people, you get 1%, it's only 10 people. If you can improve it to 2%, you get 20, and so on and so forth. So by following like 2 simple steps, right, research and planning, before we approach the prospect, we will be able to significantly improve the efficacy of our approach.
Okay, so actually, but just a question here. I actually have come across some salespeople who are actually quite successful. They don't really do so much research per se.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any issues with that, you would say?
I would not say that there is any issue in particular, but of course, there will definitely be people who can sell by relationship, people who are so familiar with the market and identifying their own target. Essentially, that is also research on their own, right? Identifying a target
true.
which they know they can close very confidently. And they've been doing it, so success with success, they keep repeating the same process, but that in itself is a form of research.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, as I see on the slides that you have just brought up, is that there's some steps towards making the initial approach. Maybe you want to guide everyone through this.
Making the initial approach. Sorry, your question means some steps before making the initial approach, or when we approach clients. Are you talking about the way we approach people, or the way we plan before we approach people?
Perhaps maybe let's start from the planning itself then.
Okay, so in terms of planning, right, we need to understand first of all what our targets or our prospects, clients are, what they sell, how they sell, and also what kind of problems they're solving for people, right? The unique sales proposition or value proposition that they have. And so identifying that, we will be able to understand how we can provide it to them.
Okay.
Generally, it's always better if we can think in their shoes, right? Why would I require this product, or why would I need help, or how can I make myself more efficient in terms of my sales, right?
All right.
So once you understand that, you'll be able to reach the point where you can pitch to them something which actually fits their needs. We have to understand that when it comes to sales, unfortunately, it's never truly about us. It's only about the customer. It's not about how, oh, I have this thing or I have that thing. It's more of how can I fit your need. Yeah. So when you approach with that mentality, you get definitely get better and more positive response. Correct. And also, one more thing is that we have to understand that people have very, very short attention span. So if you're going to go into a whole 2-minute long verbal diarrhea about what you can provide them, they're not going to listen to you. They probably shut off within the first 10 seconds. So you need to make it quick, fast, and straight to the point. Yeah.
Okay. So looking at this part right now, I'm just thinking about it. So in terms of research, how should we get started then? Like a lot of times, research for say for example for ourselves here at Platcoms, we actually have 2 different products in this case.
Yeah.
How should a salesperson actually get started on this? Should they narrow down to one specific product to get started?
Generally, it's better to focus on one product or one need that a client has. Correct. When you go in a meeting, when we see a client and we know that, all right, this client they don't have a CRM, for example. So in our case, when we are collecting information on this client, we find out if they use a CRM, how many salespeople do they have, how do they collate their information and put them all in one place, right? And if we find out that they are not even sure of how they're doing it or how their salespeople are doing what they're doing, then definitely a CRM will be a great tool for them, because then they can observe at every step of the way what their salespeople are or what activities their salespeople are committing to and how are they getting their sales. If you can improve it, that will be better.
Okay. So
I mean, yeah.
So staying on that point, right? So like we are just looking at this. Under the planning, right? Under practices, there's a part that talks about opening statements. How should we get started then? Okay, assuming I've done all the research in the world, I know exactly what I wouldn't say exactly. I have a rough, good idea of what my client is doing and what my company's value is for the client. So how do I make the initial call? As in, this is assuming I already got all the numbers. I have a contact number I can reach out to. How should I get started?
Well, you definitely should first understand their needs, which you said you already have. So when you get started, you call in and you find out more about their needs.
Okay, so a bit of qualifying, is it?
Correct. So you have to understand if they fit the bill. I mean, all sorts of research that you have done ultimately are still an estimation of their needs, right? So you call in our case, like you said, for example, we can ask them, do you currently use any CRM tool or how do you actually track your sales and your clients, right? Questions like this. Try to always start with a question, because that makes people engaged or invested in this conversation.
Sure. All right. So at least on my end, right, based on what I'm seeing, right, actually making an appointment isn't so much a art. Like what a lot of people are saying, it sounds a bit more like a kind of a science where you can actually come out with ways to measures and actually get to certain stages of preparation that will actually increase your odds of success. Can I say that?
Yes, of course, definitely. Sales, well, it is still partially an art because there's still the human factor. I mean, we can definitely identify ways in which we can improve our rate of success, but the fine details are always in a human interaction. If you can keep a person engaged or invested enough, you can definitely increase the chances of which you're going to close the sale. But it still does not change the fact that if you did not identify their needs enough and you do not link their needs to your offering, the sale can still be lost.
All right. Based on what you're sharing with me, right, I see that at least for us here at QuickDesk, there's quite a number of things we can actually help you out with. Just to recap on some things that we talked about on our previous session, we actually identified some key challenges that salespeople will experience as they proceed with their sales process. So one of them that we identified was the fact that sometimes there is many, because of the fact that we're dealing with many different clients, sometimes our sales cycle may be a bit longer, and hence we may end up having many different types of things to be done in a day. And often that actually results in a very unfocused approach towards the entire sales process, where maybe you might even forget certain stages, you might even forget certain steps to be done with a follow-up to ensure that we proceed to the next step. As in, at least from my end, using the QuickDesk side, what I can see we can do is to actually allow salespeople to actually prioritize and plan their daily tasks ahead for themselves, such that they can actually create somewhat of a schedule. So for yourself, Lina, for the sales development rep, I understand that they do follow something similar to that right now. Is that correct?
Yes, definitely.
So can you maybe give a breakdown of how a day's schedule is for them?
So a day's schedule, right, usually start in the morning. When people come in, they're kind of lethargic slightly because of the travel. So what we do is follow up on the things that they have already actually marked on QuickDesk that they would have to follow up with emails or calls, right? And also following up with the tasks that they have done. With that, after that's done, they'll make calling, and once they start calling, they would basically be hyped up and ready to complete the day, because with the follow-ups you tend to get some appointments as well, and with these appointments, they get motivated and they can move along with the day. So after lunch, they will once again follow up with whatever they need to follow up with from the calls before lunch, and then this carries on in a pattern. So in between these calls, they will also take breaks. And while it's important to take breaks, the breaks are also for them to reorganize their leads, put down the statuses, the categories which we have on QuickDesk to help identify at which stage of this process we are at.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you would say that it isn't as productive if you just sit through entire sessions of calls in a go?
Well, generally, as we all know, with every call, with every approach, there is always a high chance of rejection. And in order to deal with this rejection, the sales development representatives would have to motivate themselves. And if you prolong this period for too long, right, they will have no breaks, and it will be very hard for them to find this motivation, because constant rejection is something that all salespeople would have to face. But it's not advisable to take it all at one go.
Okay, sure. So yeah, at least on QuickDesk side, what we can do is to help you to create these appointments and reminders for yourself. So for some of our clients, in the past we have recommended them to actually set up the schedule such that they are actually reminded on a daily basis to do follow-up calls, etc. And so maybe for that, maybe I can show how it looks like on QuickDesk later on. So at this point, right, let's just ask the audience, for yourselves right now, is that something that you do for your own sales process at the moment? And if for any responses, you can actually leave it in the chat, and we will actually reply to them along the way. All right. So while we're doing so, we'll continue moving on to the next part. So yes, we have based on what you're talking, one of the other challenge we realized was that a lot of times, right, we need to actually focus in on the type of clients that's actually being targeted each time. So in QuickDesk itself, you can actually filter that. You can actually organize and segment your customers yourself. So at least for RevGen, I think that would make a lot of sense because of how you are targeting many different types of clients based on the type of projects you'll have. But what about, so would you think that this is actually useful for a single company who perhaps only have one or two different types of targets?
Well, definitely. I mean, when you can organize your leads, right, in terms of when you've engaged them or at which stage they are, you definitely can get a lot more focus on which part of this process you are intending to perform at this point of time. Correct? If I say that you are a single company, you do not only target one market for sure, and your offering might not be suitable for generalizing across the board, across the spectrum of industries that you are targeting. So if today you've prepared yourself to say target maybe F&B customers, right? And the next day you want to target marketing customers, you're not going to be able to sell the same value to two different industries. So that's one of the uses. Another use is if you've already engaged these customers before, you cannot use the same opening line as the customers you have not engaged before. Am I right?
Yes, definitely true. Okay. So yes, maybe so if it's useful later, I will share a bit more on how to use that on QuickDesk itself as well. So we'll look into that later as well. As in, so along the way, if there's any technical questions, I will also be available to answer them. So feel free to put that up. All right. So, yeah, Leonard, you shared with me before this when we had a chat about all this that when we get started, there is this three W's and one H. Can you share a bit more on what this is?
Okay, so the three W's and one H, right? It should be kept on every salesperson's mind at every point of time, especially before they make contact with their prospects. Why is that so? Because in this, let's take it this way: when you're meeting a prospect, do you know what's the best time to call them? One of the most tricky industry to call would be the F&B service side, right? Because they do lunch, they do dinner. And for most of them, the best time to call would be during the preparation phase, about 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. And then lunch starts and they will not pick up the phone again. And in the afternoon, they got 2:30 to 4:30, which is usually the lull where they are resting. And you can call them. And after that, you won't get them again. So in certain industries, you get like weird timings like this. So it's good to identify when it would be best to call a prospect. Because if you call them during any other periods, they're not going to entertain you, and you might lose a prospect, a potential customer in this sense. And also, the question about what we spoke about this various times throughout this session. It will be good to find out how you can help this prospect. If you don't know how you can help them, they wouldn't know what you're talking about, right? So why would they buy your product and services? That's also about like what you can help them with, and also the good part about thinking about why would they reject you and what would their rejections be? If you know what their rejections would be, you will be able to respond accordingly and completely for them. So your rejections will not be rejections, but rather some of them will even become opportunities for you to gain their trust and also to gain some credibility with them. Yeah, and it's always good to think about how you can approach these people because not every client will be contactable by call, by number. Some clients you would have to approach by email. Some clients you would have to do through marketing. So there are always these questions that you keep very, very conscious with yourself, and you got to keep thinking about it before you approach anyone. You want to increase the chances as far as possible to convert all your leads into sales.
Okay, sure. So, so yes, so very much a lot of times, right? I understand that a big part of creating an appointment is making calls, but at least for ourselves, because we have to recruit people as well, right? So I have seen that there is certain amount of resistance toward cold calling. So when we were talking about this, you told me that this is what a lot of times is being seen by people right now, that a cold call may sometimes even become a boring, repetitive thing, and customers may find it unwanted. Do you really feel that this is, as in, based on what I can see, I don't think you believe that is true. So what do you think a successful sales cold call should be? Like, can you share a bit more?
Well, definitely. I mean, it's listed down there, but most people, we don't know, or rather, generally, people don't know how you get to the successful cold calling part, right?
Yes.
Honest, open, straightforward, interesting. So we got customers who would definitely respond in a typical way, whereby they would feel like it's not something they want to participate in. So, like I said before, we need to engage the customers. We ask them about their needs, to feel as though we are there for them instead of there for us, right? To approach the call with more honesty, so you don't have to go and say things like, "Oh, I'm calling you because I'm here to do sales with you." You can say, "I want to collaborate with you. I want to work with you to find out how we can work for you."
True.
Right?
Okay.
You can approach a call instead of saying like, "Oh, I got some great, insurance calls especially. We got some great policies that we want to do, that we want to share with you." Most of the time, we receive calls like that, you're just gonna hang up, or you're just gonna tell them, "No, I'm not for this." But it would be very different if an insurance agent called you and, hi, may I find out if you're using any existing policies, right? How's your coverage like, blah, blah, blah. And perhaps I have something I would like to share with you over a cup of coffee, how we can figure out if your insurance can work for you better than this, right?
Okay. But just now,
it might be wrong because they might think that I really have the best. So you can say, perhaps we can supplement your offering. Yeah.
Okay, so Lina, just now we did talk a little bit about writing a script, for example, right?
Yeah.
So how does that coming together with what you just mentioned? Because it sounds to me that a lot of times you are actually going to be you are going to be adopting your script along the way to better fit each client, because after all, each client is rather unique each time when you call them. So
Yeah.
how does this seemingly contrasting concepts come together?
Well, these concepts actually aren't very contrasting. They can actually fit in one standard frame. But of course, it's good to first understand where the clients are coming from, and you use file frame. Take a look at the first part, second part, third part. They're all the general, similar things that you're going to say to everyone. Correct?
True.
Good afternoon. And then, can we have a minute to talk? Or shall we? Or do you have time now? Or is this a good time to call? Things like that. And everyone would generally answer you in a fixed method, or what is this about? Or is it like, oh yes, I have a minute, right? And then you can start. I am from which company? It's good to say your name more than explaining your product sometimes. So I'm from where, and my purpose is to see if I can work with you. You can use that, right? And work with you with regards to what. So the what is when you come in and say, for example, if you're in HR, you can say, I understand that you might have staffing needs, or I understand that you might have a high, you might face some problems with staff turnover or motivation, if you're in the consultancy, and this will actually get them to start talking, right?
So wait, so you're telling me I actually need to know to a very fine detail what is happening in my client's life. Can I say that?
Well, generally, you could say that, but
then am I just a private investigator in this case? Like, we don't have that much time, do we? Like, when is enough?
I understand that it might seem a bit confusing, but generally across similar industries, and that's the reason why we encourage you to generalize by industries.
Okay.
Across certain industries, they are always facing similar problems. So all you really have to do is to find out for one prospect what their problems are, and you probably got the same problems for every prospect.
Okay, so in a way, can I say that each time a cold call is made, very much we are not so focused itself on closing a deal or even closing a appointment. Very much we're trying to get them interested in the first place. Can I say that? Okay, sure.
So the idea of a cold call, like you said, is to get through the door, right? We all know that on call we can hang up on the person, but when you're in the meeting, you can't say, okay, I exit group chat, kind of thing.
That's true. Okay, so you can't, just to summarize things, you can't be a machine when you can't just follow a script exactly like a machine when you do you want to try and get an appointment. At the same time, you need to very much come off as genuine and really very much have a very good understanding of your clients when you are actually proceeding with the call. Can I summarize it this way?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
This, the part about finding out about them more would be where they will feel that you are genuine and you're being honest with them, and that you're here to help them, right?
All right, sure. So then, okay, just a key question that we haven't really answered yet is that for the research, right? Like for example, like right now when we're looking at other parts of the call script, such as handling objections, all right?
Yeah.
How should I approach it such that I don't come off as defensive? For example, because sometimes, like you said, we want to come on as genuine. We don't want to be perceived as being defensive or simply just trying to close the deal. That's definitely something that we do not want to do. And because after all, that isn't our actual intentions. So yes, how would you advise your sales development representatives?
Well, generally, we tell them not to ever say the word no. And also, we will always tell them to, first of all, before you start the call, we'll practice what they think people would object, for, or how people reject them. And how do we do that? Well, that's what role playing is for, right? So we ask each other questions in the eyes of the prospect. We all know, first of all, how they feel. So you know how they feel, and you learn how to reject yourself, you learn how to deal with these objections, correct? You always, first of all, like you see that anticipate, expect, and welcome objections, because every call or every sales call will start with general rejection. They will always push away first. And the way to get past this is to expect what they're going to reject you with, especially if they're reasonable objections. Sometimes, like I said, they can be turned into opportunities for you to close the deal as well. Perhaps somebody says like, oh, especially this one you get, I'm not the person in charge. And this is the best time to ask, right? Oh, okay, I understand that. How, or may I speak to the person in charge, please? Or if you say you can send an email, all right, to whom may I address this email to? All right, and you can always get a positive response from that. Or you won't always get a positive response, but most of the time, people will feel safer giving you the information because they felt that they are, you understand where they're coming from and you're not going to push them. So you won't be hard with them.
So very much, I would say that you need to feel for them and make the attempt to feel genuinely felt by them. Can I say that? And then allow them to really trust you.
Correct.
Okay, sure. So okay, are there some advice they can give for someone who's just starting out as a sales development rep or someone who's just starting as a business development representative? Are there some things you would advise them to do or even not to do?
Okay. Well, yes, we generally have these, like you see here, these
okay.
First of all, never twist the truth, right? And secondly, never self-sabotage. I think this is a little bit gray, so
okay. What do you mean by self-sabotage? Can I just
never make promises that you cannot keep or your consultants or representatives cannot keep, right? That is self-sabotaging. And also to never ever go on whether you're right, wrong, or anything. You just have to be at a point where I'm trying to understand you and I'm trying to get you, right? And I'm here for you, right? So that's how you appear genuine. Never argue, never lie is definitely, self-free. Never be defensive, never lose your cool. Also about the same things, because you got to stay calm. If you start being rude with people, you first of all lose the company's reputation, and people are not going to listen to you ever again. Right? Yeah, and never to react to objections.
Okay, so how would you? So if you say never to react to objections, yeah. So how should we respond then, per se?
Well, like I said, we do not make excuses, right? So what happens is, if somebody objects to what you have, you just go, I understand, or okay, right? And don't make excuses, just go straight to the point. That you don't go like, oh, but, oh, because, oh, things like that. Don't say but, don't say because, don't say however, yeah.
Okay.
So don't say things that start with that. It never works out.
Okay. True. All right, sure. So just to sum things up, I would say that these are just eight of the basic things that you should take note of when you are actually talking to a prospect. Can I say that?
Correct.
All right, sure. So okay, I understand that when we had a discussion, you also told me a bit more about simplifying your approach. So so now that we know everything about sales process, we know what to do, we need to do the research, we know what not to do as well. So you mentioned to simplify your approach, and I see that there's this very complicated drawing thing over there. Can you walk us through that?
Well,
what is this supposed to be?
This is not. It looks complicated here, but in actual fact, if you see, it's all binary, right? It's only yes or no kind of thing.
Okay.
But what we did this for, essentially, is not to show you the chart, but show you an example of a chart. What we did is, for our own sales, we identified the points in which, first of all, whether we meet the decision maker, and what kind of emails do we send, when do we stop contacting these people, or how do we follow up with these people. And we broke down the components to which we should fit in an email, so we can come up with different components for different parts. And we can just put the email together like jigsaws or Lego and send it out.
Okay. So would that be something that you would advise most or even all salespeople to actually do for themselves?
I would suggest that most salespeople do this, so they can be very clear about at which stage they're at, in their own targets. Or basically, why we broke this down in components is because we can be sure about how close we are to achieving our goals, what we want to do with these people. And another reason is also for the emails, right? If you have to send out 100 emails and you have categorized these people properly, you can send them all out at the same time to QuickDesk in this instance.
Okay. So, for the past half an hour plus, we have shared a bit more on the different sales processes. And I hope that, and Leonard, thank you very much for your sharing. I think that definitely enlightened me and the majority of our audience here on at least having a very basic idea on what we can do as sales development reps or even business development reps to actually grow our own sales processes. So for everyone who's actually with us today, the session itself is not meant as an authoritative answer. It's very much an explorative opinion that we feel that can also apply for all of you. So right now we're going to open up the floor for a short Q&A session, and once that is done, I'll share a bit more on how you can use QuickDesk to actually carry out the different part of the processes that Lena has shared about. So I'm opening up the floor right now. For those who might have any questions, you can feel free to actually either speak or actually leave a message. All right. Okay. Okay, as I see that there's no questions that's being raised at the moment, I will actually in fact just move on to the QuickDesk demonstration itself, so that we can proceed. All right. So over here, right, we see that there's actually what we have actually. This is one of the general breakdowns that we have for QuickDesk to help most of the sales team to actually tackle the different parts of their sales cycle. So QuickDesk in itself can actually be broken down into quite a number of different modules. So one part of it is hunting, and another part is to actually generate appointments, closing, and reporting. So today, what I will look a bit more at will be actually the hunting and appointment generation part of things. So I'll just be sharing my screen now. All right. So everyone, please do not mind all my funny messages that appears. So anyway, this is just my own account here, QuickDesk. So what I can do right now is that, like what Lina was talking about just now, in terms of doing research, when you actually right click on any of the lead, for example, this is myself here. So for example, once you're doing all the research, what you can do is actually to expand the entire card over here. And over here, this actually brings up the one card view. It can show you all the different types of activities that you have actually done with the lead through the system here. So be it that you have dropped an email, an SMS, or call, for example, or even if you have any appointments out for them, you can actually look at it. So when we are doing the research, we can always research using Google or even simply taking information from an interaction you had with the party beforehand. So you can simply from there leave some notes and actually add down like, okay, basic research, for example, like what have you found out? Okay, what company is this from, for example. All this information can be loaded onto this. Once you save it, this information, these notes will stay with this lead, even if you share this with another colleague of yours. In QuickDesk, you're actually now able to share a specific lead to another party. So we are actually slowly rolling that out to different users. So another part of it is that with the text, you can actually add the additional information that we're talking about. Just now we talked about how we can actually link them by different industry. So for example, we might even just put for example, like say, yes, we are from the IT industry. We can add a tag there. So all this kind of information, as we enrich it further, it will help you to have an increasingly longer and better understanding of a client. And so a lot of times this enrichment of the CRM system does not just benefit yourself. A lot of times it will also benefit other salespeople who are able to actually access the information and perhaps even upsell the same information using the information which you have already included. So all this information, you guys need to think, how am I going to use it if I'm going to make a sales call right now? So one thing for sure is that using QuickDesk, you are actually able to actually make a call right on the spot. When you're making a call, what you can do is actually to bring out the card and put it on the side, such that you are able to look at the notes and the details that you had, and you can just simply make a call. While you're making the call, you can actually reference all this, and as it goes on, type down the notes that you are actually doing through. So for example, maybe the first sales call I had with Alex here. In this case, I will take down, okay, the call went well, for example. Going well, yeah, he's the COO looking for ways to improve the sales productivity. All this information can be typed in as we go, even while the call is going on. So, say for example, I have doubt and the call has ended, I can actually always update all this information as to, yeah, he's not a new lead anymore, I've already approached him. Now I'm just waiting, and I think that yes, maybe he's very interested and we can actually move on to book an appointment with him later on. So after the call, perhaps I want to drop him a text. I will just go for it from here. I just drop an SMS. Hi, great having a chat with you, for example. And straight off from there, I can actually send it right away. Yeah. So in this case, because the number is wrong, I can't send it. But everyone, I think we will get the idea. And straight away from that, I can actually follow up with creating a task for myself. Like when should I? Yeah, maybe I should follow up with him. Follow up. Maybe later in the day. Okay, I might say maybe tomorrow at 8 a.m. I want to be informed to what? Follow up with him. Alright, and yeah, drop a sales call. And all of this can be saved and kept in the record for you. So you will see on the person's record as well. But if you don't remember that, the next morning, for example, you can actually go look at that from the calendar itself, as this will actually show all the tasks that you have. For example, what we've just created just now, then the follow-ups, the follow-up calls, etc. that we had. All these are actually populated here. As you actually make each call, you are able to actually just click them off. And they'll be done. Yeah. So all this kind of information can be used to make your sales call and your sales appointments a lot more effective. So from this, QuickDesk will be able to help you to create a schedule for yourself to improve your entire sales process. So what if I want to make a large number of calls at one time? So what you can use in this case will be actually something like our Hunter dashboard here. You can select all this, add to Hunt, and then be in Hunt for all these people. With this, you are actually able to you can actually start an auto dial that will be able to continuously push up new calls for you to call up. So as your calls go through, you will be able to actually keep notes, add tags, for example, to enrich the information that you had. So right now for myself, I've set my system to actually record every single call I make. So once that is done, assuming that, okay, you know what, I'm done with all this call, 5 days later, I want to find out what did I talk about. Either I can look at the notes I've kept for the person. I'm going to see, oh, what's all on the notes. Alternatively, I can actually go to the files and just see what are the kind of recordings that I have stored for the phone call. And this information either will be found in here, or you can actually find the information in the lead itself, under the information here or under the files. So in this way, you will be able to make your own sales process a lot more efficient. So at this point, I'd just like to check if there's anyone with any questions regarding this. Lynette, for yourself, what do you think? Is there new things that you can actually implement for the sales development representative on your end?
New things meaning the things that we have not done yet. I think for us, we right now we already categorize our leads by tags. Which means, make it very convenient for us to use the Hunter dashboard, which is what we're already using. And in terms of notes, we're taking it very religiously. Every call is recorded so that we can always refer back. If we feel that there's not enough detail, we can always look back into the calls and check out if, of course, if we missed anything during the call itself. Right?
Okay, so right, since you are the one that is actually closest to the ground in our team right now with using the system, like for yourself, what type of additional feature might you think is good that you are actually looking out for?
Oh, I actually like the new lead sharing feature.
Okay,
and I also quite. I think for now it's just that, and also if we can leave a note while right after the call, because you have the activity dashboard pop up, right? Right now we can only change the status and category, but if we can add the notes portion, that would be great, I think.
Okay, no worries. Definitely that's actually definitely in the pipeline. Because right now what we're actually working on after the leads assignment is actually the company do not call list. Because we understand that every time when you make some calls, sometimes some people might say, please don't call me again. So this information, we are making sure that we are at least compliant in that area. Because we understand that it can result in certain undesirable effects, and we think that that's quite a priority. But definitely your feedback about the notes, I would definitely be piping into our tech team. I think they will definitely like to hear more of that, but we have discussed that point before.
Yeah.
All right. So are there any other types of features other than that for ourselves?
I think we spoke about this before. I was hoping that when we set appointments on QuickDesk, we can generally have it appear on Google as well.
Oh yes.
Yes.
No, so also for that actually that is also in the pipeline already. Yeah. We are focusing on that right after IMAP, because that is also quite important. We want to make it such that it's a consolidated place where you can actually access all the different information. All right.
Yeah.
So for the rest of the people in the audience, like Yvonne, Wang, and Blanca, if you all might you all have any feedback that you all want me to actually pipe back to the tech team, like how are you all currently using QuickDesk itself to help your?
Okay, for us, our main concern is that we actually would want to use this for email marketing as well.
All right.
But I believe that there's no mail automation yet. There's something, right? So it's a feature that you may want to look. I definitely think that you should look at it in the future, and basically, we are more into email.
Yes. So actually, I have been discussing with. So in the past, right, like we actually used to send out those kind of mass transactional emails and with certain level of automation for emails. So we are actually discussing right now to see how we can bring that up in a better way. Because right now is that it sort of conflicts with our current approach. So right now for QuickDesk, what we do is that we actually use your personal emails to send the emails.
Exactly. Yes.
So that kind of restricts the number of steps we can take. But we are trying to find a workaround for that, definitely, because we are finding that there are some new kinds of approaches that we can actually take. So yes, thank you very much for your feedback. We are definitely looking into that. So thank you very much for still working with us on all this. All right.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, other than email,
even the SMS, right? It actually tags into the user's handphone number, right? So because we're currently using this as to send like reminders or meetings to our clients. So basically that's
okay. So something like a scheduled SMS, email, or
correct.
Something along those lines, right? Can I say that?
Yeah, but because it's not automated, we have to go and edit the wordings as per the client's name one by one. Not unlike it's automated that, dear blank, the blank should have a formula that, it should be tagged into the lead's name.
Oh, actually, Blanca, you can do that for emails.
Oh, is it? I don't know how to do it.
No worries.
Try do it manually also.
I'll present for a while. You see whether I'll take over the presenting for a moment. So I'll show you how that's done.
Okay, sure, great.
Okay, so for the SMS one, right, they are still working on having that implemented because currently that's different. But for the emails, right, you can actually access that from the Hunter dashboard itself.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so if you go to the emails, right, for example, so like say if I wanted to say hi to all the names, for example, I can just type this. Can you see on my screen?
Okay.
So right now, right, if I do that, I preview, it will actually show all the different names like this.
I didn't know what to do. Okay,
no, as in we know the UI for this is not very intuitive at the moment, so we are trying to change it such that it doesn't look like this funny bracket thing, curly brackets, but do a bit more with like a drop, click and drop, such that you can actually put them in a more easier way.
Yeah.
So as in we're definitely working on that because we are also a bit tight on our resources. So yeah, thank you. Yes.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna try it out.
Yes, please try it out. Priscilla will be able to guide you more. So do feel free to reach out to her.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah. But yes, I will. I've been talking to my tech team to actually have that for the SMS as well.
Cool. Okay, sure.
All right. So just to help my friend Lena there a bit more. Okay. So right now, right, we have a separate service called RevGen. So it's because, right, we see, at least from QuickDesk side, we see that there's a lot of clients who want to have the ability to just focus on closing sales. I don't want to do all the verifying, all the research, all the calling. I can leave it to an expert to do it. All right. Yeah. So right now, so for ourselves, we used to have that internally for ourselves, and we realized that we can open that up to the rest of our clients as well. So right now, this is very much starting to roll out. We are a bit more selective on the projects. If you are interested, do reach out to us, and you have Lynette's contact now as well, and we'll see whether there are any ways we can help you from RevGen side as well on top of what we already do with QuickDesk. So right now, we've come to the end of the session. So thank you very much once again for everyone who have attended the session. Please look forward for more sessions coming up in the future. So thank you very much for your time. Bye-bye.
Thank you guys. Bye-bye.